It's just me. Hey, how's it going, and welcome to Whisky Whims with me, Stuart. Today we've got a Dailuiaine 12-year-old from the Single Cask. It's bottled at 58.7% ABV, non-chill filtered, no added colouring, and it cost £79 a bottle. Now, I've covered a few of these whiskies, these bottles from this independent bottler, the Single Cask Company, and I went through a phase of buying quite a few of their bottles to try them and appreciate them as an independent bottler. I've not bought any recently, and it's not one I keep on top of, but I did try a Stocia that they had at the Fife Whisky Festival, and it was fantastic, but I feel like their prices are a little bit premium, a little bit pricier, and I've not actually checked them recently to see if they've went up with the current climate, or if they've kind of stayed about the same. But £79 for a Single Cask Dailuiaine is probably a little pricey, but maybe the juice inside's worth it. So we'll get down to the nose, the palate and the finish, and we'll see if it's a Whisky Win or a Whisky Bin. So the nose, I think it's fair to say it's kind of Dailuiaine in essence. It's quite spirity. There's obviously that matured in bourbon. There's no hogshead, no sherry influence there. So yeah, it's quite spirity. I always get a kind of freshness, crisp element from Dailuiaine. There's white pear or pear. The reason I said white is because I was thinking of white wine. There's like a white wine element as well. It's a little malty, a little withheld, like Dailuiaine can be sometimes. This is a little restrained in the nose. I will add water to it because it's a high ABV. I've got some water here, so I'll add that. I want to say apple as well. I feel like pear's quite similar to apple in a sense. I know they are technically different, but yeah, apple, pear, white wine. A little grassy on the nose. Yeah, like it always reminds me of kind of the reeds that you get beside a riverbed. It's kind of that smell. There's a little bit of moss, wet moss or damp moss, and a little malty. So the palate, the palate's nice. I just burped. Hope you couldn't hear that through the mic. It's oily, for sure. It definitely coats the mouth. There's something like kind of melon, fruit, gum or fruit sweet. It's not necessarily melon the fruit, but like a chewy sweet, a gummy sweet. Once again, white wine, quite consistent from the nose to the palate. I'll see what else there is. It's very nice in the palate with that mouthfeel. Yeah, I want to say it's hard, like a kind of stewed, I don't know, it's a stewed fruit, but I don't think it's the pear or the apple. It's stewed fruit with like a kind of, just a generic stewed fruit flavour, with like a kind of creamy custard element over the stewed fruit. Maybe like some sort of crumble, or some sort of pie, more crumble like. So it's probably apple and pear again, like an apple and pear, stewed apple and pear crumble, with custard over the top. It's a decent palate. I'm going to add nose to it. There's not too much going on. It does require a little patience, a little time, this dram, and it's not one I've reached for consistently. It's one that I reach for now and then. It's not like the Cadenhead's Dailuiaine where I was constantly reaching for that. I really enjoyed that. That's now in my barrel to try and preserve it for a little bit longer. But as you can see, I'm barely even halfway down it. But I just thought it was time to review because I've had it for a while, and like I said, it's one that I'm not constantly reaching for. So the nose, with the water, the completely kind of that grassy element, the river reeds, that's away. The damp moss is still there. There's a little bit of that I can't remember what the word is. Everybody tells me the word prechora. Anyway, the when the rain hits the ground and you get that smell after like a hot day or whatever, there's that there. Now with the water, the addition of the water, it's a little, yeah, it's quite winey. I think adding the water's developed that white wine element. It's like rice wine or something like that, or almost like sake. Yeah, quite interesting in those, the palate with the water. Still oily, but that kind of creaminess, like you were saying custard earlier, the cream is a lot more prominent with the water. There's it's like a kind of thick buttercream, but not as sweet. It's just creamy. It's not a terribly sweet dram. Obviously I said the melon kind of gummy sweets earlier, but it's not overly sweet. It's quite one-dimensional and quite consistent with the, like I said, with the pear, the wine. It's not too dramatic, not too complex really. A little bit of wood in the palate, a little bit of like sandalwood, or something like kind of shaved away sandalwood, as if you've filed it or smoothed it, and you've got that kind of sawdust, sawdust. It's like sawdust from a sandalwood, a bit of wood. Yeah, a nice enough palate. The finish is long. I feel like there's walnuts in the finish. There's possibly some kind of kiwi and more green fruits like apple and pear. Those kind of orchard fruits. It's definitely kiwi for sure. It's fresh. It's green. Yeah, I'd say the finish is definitely long. It's still going on. It's warming. It's quite a nice finish. Quite a pleasant feeling in the chest. It's warming, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of depth to the flavours. Once again, quite consistent, quite one-dimensional, and that is with the water. But we'll get down to the rating. If you're new here, how I rate my whiskey is on 3 factors. It's would I buy it again, would I recommend it, and do I think it's worth it? So I'll start with the first one. Do I think it's worth it? I don't think it is. I think £79 a little bit steep. The Cadenheads one I had, the Dailuiaine 15, that was a great example of a Dailuiaine. I've had a couple others, but this just seems a little bit more expensive for what it is. Dailuaine's not a premium distillery, it's not a flashy distillery, majority of it goes to blends, so I don't think there's much need in charging that. I'm not sure. Would I buy it again? No, like I've pretty much covered that. Because of the price and because of the other Dailuiaines out there, I think there's other Dailuiaines that are kind of a step above this, a grade above it. So for me, I wouldn't buy it again. Would I recommend it? I would. I'm not going to give this 0 out of 3. I think it's worth a try. It's like I said, it's one-dimensional. It's a little flat, but it's probably a good kind of starter to Dailuiaine with those green fruits and the waxy oiliness of the palate. I don't think it's a horrible whiskey at all. I just think it's a little, like I said, a little plain, a little simple, and some people will enjoy that. I'm neither here or there with it. I wouldn't say I dislike it. I wouldn't say I love it. It's a meh whiskey. It's just meh. That's the only way I'd describe it. So yeah, that's the review. It's a whiskey bin because we only got 1 out of 3. So yeah, that's I think all I got to say. I'm not going to finish it. It's not like I don't want to finish it. It's just I probably won't pour it back into the glass because it's got water in it. I'll probably just pour it down the sink. And that's not a reflection on the whiskey. It's just a reflection on me not wanting to drink too much. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. Thanks for watching. I've been Stuart. This has been Whisky Whims. I'll see you later.